Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ALP1 podcast. I'm your host, Sidonian Muse, the reigning three-time assist champion. It won't be four-time, I don't think, unfortunately, but
Yawn.
we
Sorry.
ball. We ball. Joining me is my two-time teammate, Golden Sniper.
I've escaped
How's it going,
captivity.
brother?
I've escaped your captivity, mate. I heard a nice little birdie told me last week that all I needed to do to escape you was to literally give you a nice ball of Newfoundland snow straight to the cranium, and I'm gone. So I did that, and I failed miserably.
Ah.
But yeah, you let me out of pity, right? I hope.
Not out of pity, I heard that there was a change in the constructor standings this week at Australia. There's a
Uh-huh.
different team on top now.
I'm not aware who
A,
that
te-
is.
a team
Can you
that's
remind me?
last in real life and first
Ah,
in
no, I get it now. I
NACS.
get it now. Sauber. Yep, Sauber. Way fuck.
Yep,
Oh,
Sauber for sure. No, us,
yeah.
Alpine.
Hang on, that's not on my fucking notes.
Alpine are on top now. We're leading the constructors by a few
Whoa. Against
points.
people on wheels,
Woohoo.
so you know what that means. Fuck the feds. I'm kidding.
Exactly. But today, Golden, we're doing our driver ratings for the Australian Grand Prix that we did a couple days ago. We
Love
had
it.
14 drivers, and there were four, well, technically three DNFs, one DSQ. We'll get to that. But there was technically four DNFs, 10 people finished. Kind of what you'd expect. You'd expect there to be like three or four DNFs at Australia. It can be pretty hectic, and a lot of people were also having some. There were some
Technical
glitchy issues
difficulties.
with the game.
Game shit.
Let's put it
What's
that
new?
way. Exactly. So let's get right into it. We're gonna start off with a brand new driver. Well, his first week was last week at Monaco, but that was kind of a write-off because it was Monaco. Like, how are you supposed to do your first league race at Monaco?
Mm.
And that is Mr. Hollywood, driving the sole driver for Haas at the moment. He qualified dead last in 14th, but he finished the race in 10th. So he was the last of the race finishers, but he did finish his first race.
Mm.
So I wouldn't blame you if you're a little harsher than me, but I've personally gone straight down the middle with a 5 for Hollywood, just because it's his first race and like finishing it and getting his first point. When there's some other really good drivers. We'll get to them. There's some other really good drivers, Golden, who didn't finish this
Yeah, I
race.
wonder what happened to them.
Yeah, so when both
when
when
both
both of the McDonald's
when
Formula One team don't finish the
they've
race,
got their Happy Meal for
but you
fuck's sake.
do. Yeah, exactly. It's like you got to put some respect on the name. Like, obviously his
Yep.
pace, he didn't have much in regards to pace, but he was able to stay consistent and finish. So I've given him a straight down the middle of 5.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I just had a nice last minute change in my head because I did apparently get some stick last week for some of the ratings, so I don't know. I don't know whether or not it's gonna be. I'm still gonna be get pitchforks thrown in my head, but we'll change for a bit of a start here. I've actually gone. I did change the last minute yet again. I've gone for a 6. First race
Oh,
finish,
nice, nice.
first points. Uh, some would say last week I was a retarded, or the week before, because I gave, I believe, Orange a 6 for his first points. And if you're wondering why I gave Orange a 6 for possibly a better performance than Mr. Hollywood here, I do not have an answer to that, I'm afraid. Yeah, so 6. And if you want to know the answer, slip me $50.
Yeah, so 5 and 6 for Hollywood. Not bad. He's on the board now,
Whoa.
and we'll see how he does. We got some sketchy tracks coming up though. Like next week is Jeddah, so we'll see how he does at a track like Jeddah. It could be difficult, but
Mm.
yeah, no, good start from though in NACS. Next up, we have the Seoul Racing Bulls driver, Kilo, aka Alex.
Oh my god.
Qualified 11th,
Mm.
and he was DSQ'd because he sped under the VSC, and instead of giving him a drive-through penalty, the game just instantly disqualified him.
Mm.
which I don't know if that was just a one-time thing that lobby or if one of the recent updates caused that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember in one of the previous updates there was an issue with drive-through penalties not working properly in like not the career mode, but like the breaking point and like the F1 movie stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't know if it's affecting online races. That would be terrible if it is. I hope this is just a one-time thing. We never see this again because it's unfortunate. Because Alex was he was hanging with me and Kogo there for a bit. But me and him unfortunately had to. It gave us illegal overtakes on the safety car restart on Kogo, so both of us had to completely slam on our brakes and go from there. Lost like 5 seconds of race time, which was really shitty. So I'm not going to be too harsh on Alex. I have given him less than Hollywood though. I have given him a 4. Like the DSQ wasn't his fault, but the qualifying was. I can't just give Alex a neutral grade because that was a bad qualifying as far as he's concerned. He can qualify way better than that. I mean, look at Abu Dhabi. I know we didn't do driver ratings for Abu Dhabi or Spa or anything like that, but like he outqualified me at Abu Dhabi and
And
Spa.
me.
Yeah, yeah. So like
Us.
Alex has already had some decent qualifying showings this season. So for him to only get 11th is like eh. Now he's not a big fan of Australia anyway, but I don't know. It'll be interesting when we get to a track like Jeddah or Austria coming up, a track that he's more of a fan of, to see what he can do. But yeah, unfortunately, just a weekend to forget for poor old Alex. So I've given him 4 out of 10.
Now, when I was doing the ratings here, I had a bit of outside help, as people would say, with some of these ratings. I'm not going to name names; they know who they are. And Alex was one of them that was a bit twisted on two numbers. So I'm not I'm not naming who it is, but the outside help here, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, gave Alex a 3. So yeah, Alex, if you're listening to this, it's not my fault. I didn't do it in it, Brev. All right, I didn't do shit. But yeah, like you said, it's just a really poor weekend from him. I know the DSQ wasn't his fault, and he was fighting with you, which is good to see in general. But like you said, the quality was just subpar from someone we know who can qualify definitely top 7 just consistently. So next week is definitely going to be a redemption for him.
Hopefully, yeah. I've seen him do good things. Obviously, it's very easy to crash at Jeddah, but I've seen him do great things at Jeddah in past F1 games. So it'll be interesting to see. But now we're on to the sole Aston Martin driver, Spectre, who this was only his second race in NACS. His other race was Abu Dhabi, which that was race 2, so that was before we started doing the driver ratings. But he finished P7 in that one as well. He qualified P12 today, and he finished P7 once again. So lucky number 7 for him, I guess.
Whoa.
And I'm sticking with the 7s. I've given Spectre a 7. Yeah, the qualifying was nothing to write home about, but again, he also hasn't raced in over a month. and I don't think I think a lot of us were like thinking that he was done, like he wasn't going to race again. Then he came back and he finished in P7. Like that's slapped in P7. Got some more points for Aston. He got a new teammate. As far as I'm aware of, he got a new fast teammate coming in. So Aston Martin are going to get a bit of a resurgence. It looks like so. Yeah, good stuff. And he was fighting with Queso, who, as we know from like the Monaco race,
terrorism. Sorry, my bad. Fast-ish. Sorry, lap
from the
car,
Monaco and the
by the way,
Canada
Queso.
races.
Lap car, sorry. So that's last week. My bad. Yeah. Quickish, if you only say.
Yeah. Now my co-host is done talking over me.
Sorry.
So I was gonna say we saw Queso in the past couple races. You know, he's been pretty good. So for Spectre to be hanging with him, and not only hanging with him, but just nudging him out and getting him at the end, is pretty impressive from Spectre. So that's why I've given him a 7.
Yeah. To be honest, everything you said was pretty much spot on. But just one thing, I've actually gone for a 6. I know, Golden's a retard, But
No,
yeah,
I actually was debating between. He was one of the. He was one of the two people I was debating between a 6 or a 7.
mm,
So, yeah.
yeah, just yeah. My explanation is basically what Will said, so I'm plagiarizing. Sue me.
Okay. No more needs to be said. 6 and 7. Yeah, pretty good there.
Hmm.
Next, there is the Williams driver of Kogo Jr. His teammate Orange unfortunately couldn't make it this week, so it was just Kogo Jr.
Mm.
rocking it out in the Williams, who he seems to be enjoying a lot more than the Aston ever since he hopped into that car. He qualified second, basically should have got pole. We'll get to that when we get to the other Kogo.
Yeah.
Um, basically should have had pole. The game kind of screwed him out of that, but he qualified second. That's what we got written down here. He qualified second, and he finished on the podium. He finished in third,
Mm.
just a few seconds ahead of yourself, I believe.
I think it was like 9 seconds, so it wasn't a couple, mate. He was very quick.
Yeah, he was very fast when he came back out on those fresh tires.
Mm.
So I've gone with a 9 for Caleb because he was fighting for the win the whole race with Pete. But unfortunately, it just came down. It was like an Abu Dhabi situation where it just came down to the 2 stop versus the 1 stop, and Pete and Caleb not being able to make that 2 stop, or sorry, not being able to make that 1 stop work, whereas Drupally did. So that cost them. So they only finished second and third, whereas otherwise the two of them would have been fighting for the win. Now he wouldn't have got the win. Pete would have got it. Um, but again, that's why I've also gone with a 9 because there was definitely a win on the table
Mm.
for Kogo Jr. But once that safety car came out, it killed his I think it killed his flow a little bit, and he wasn't as locked in the second half of the race as he was in the first half. So
Mm.
I've gone with a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I think nines across the board with me as well, mate. Good pace all weekend, great quality, standard race from Mr. Caleb, and yeah, just he'd be happy with that, even though he did come a little bit short at the end.
Hmm. Next, we're on to the Mercedes drivers um, of Dan and Queso. We'll start with Queso. Qualified ninth and finished in eighth. What have you gone with for Queso?
Um, I really like his number today, and as per last week and the week before. I've gone for a 6. Um, Standard, sort of midfield quality from Mr. Queso, and yeah, well, he did have some decent battles here and there, but again, points are more important than DNFing. I'm not going to name names, but yeah, just a nice quiet race. He did get a little bit smashed by a rogue Alpine this weekend, which was not his fault, unfortunately. But yeah, I reckon a 6 is quite favourable. I was thinking a 6 or a 7, but I've gone for a 6.
So you've gone with a 6 for Mr. Queso. I was also debating a 6 for Queso,
Mm,
but I've been a little generous. I've gone with a 7.
mm,
Basically, just to keep things short, I was gonna give him the same rating as Spectre no matter what.
mm-hmm,
So I was gonna give him and Spectre both 6s, but I decided to give him both 7s instead. So,
mm,
um, yeah, because I didn't want to give him he outqualified Spectre, so I didn't want to give him a lower rating than Spectre. So I've gone with a 7 for Mr. Queso.
mm,
Next, his teammate Dan, who unfortunately did not fare as well. He qualified fourth, um, but he did not finish the race. I think he DNF like lap 7 or 8, something like that,
mm-hmm,
I believe. So unfortunately I've gone with a 4
mm,
for Mr. Dan because you would think it should be a 5 straight down the middle, but even a fourth in quality, like it was looking like he could have fought for pole, but nah, it just no. So I can't give him like a full grade for quality because we know what he's
mm,
capable of, and he fourth again. Fourth isn't bad, but I think it's enough to deduct a point for me from what would be a 5. So that's why I've gone with a 4 for Dan.
mm. Yeah, I've gone for a 4 as well. I sort of base my if you do DNF where you finish in the quali, more so. Yeah, fours. Yeah, just unfortunate to DNF so early in the race. You know he's got pace and everything, but just a big what if he didn't have that little incident into I believe it was turn 5. He could have been much higher, but yeah, 4 seems pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Next, we're on
Favorite
to the
segment.
two. Pretty good, pretty good. Next, we're on to the two Red Bulls.
Yawn.
Who had a pretty good weekend. Red Bull, they had a pretty good weekend. Starting off with Vadka,
Voddy.
qualified, Vode, qualified 8th and finished the race in 6th. Um, you could argue again. This was a tough one for me. You could argue one spot higher, but I've gone with a 7 out of 10 for Vodka, mainly because of the fact that his own errors cost him what could have been a better position. Like he could have honestly been there with me, around like me and you there at the end, and with the time penalties and all that, like he could have been fighting for the two of us for P4, but he made those mistakes and he fell off at the end. So I've given him a 7, but it's still a super solid weekend though for Vodka.
Yeah, solid weekend for someone who's definitely bounced back from a couple uh unfortunate races, maybe you should say. But still decent points this weekend, decent quality as well. But again, those errors you said just really hindered him. So I've actually gone one lower again, and I've gone for a 6.
Okay, fair. So 6 and 7 for Vodka,
Mm-hmm.
but still a decent weekend for him though, not a terrible one.
Yep.
Still solid.
Yep.
Now his teammate though, Druply, again, who hadn't raced since Abu Dhabi, where he won,
Too far forward.
has returned for another assist race, and he's won again. He qualified third behind the two Kogos, and he's won the race because he's the only one out of the main 3 race winner contenders, which was Peace, Caleb, and himself. He's the only one out of the 3 of them.
No, yeah, they did the one sub, right?
Yes, that's why I've gone with a 10 out of 10 for Druply Bunyan, because like it was just a perfect race on his part.
Mm.
You could argue the qualifying, but the qualifying was marginal. He was right there with the Kogos anyway, and like I said, he also got screwed over at the beginning by Kogo's lag situation,
Mm.
He basically got punted off track, and he still came back through and won the race, making the one-stop strategy work. So yeah, I've gone with a 10 out of 10 for Druply.
Yeah, I've gone for a 10 as well. Pretty, if again, you can't really fault him for the quality. He was again right there with both Kogos, Mr. Caleb and Mr. Kogo himself. Race just flawless from him, making that one stop work. And well, what else can you say? A win's a win.
Yeah, win is a win. So yes, that's it for Red Bull. Now onto the, like I said, the usual big 3 from last season. The Ferraris of Pete and Slingshot. Sling qualified 13th, just ahead of Hollywood, and he finished in 9th, just ahead of Hollywood. So he finished the race. So that's why I've given Sling the same rating as Hollywood, a 5 out of 10 for Sling. You could argue a 6 because he finished ahead of Hollywood, but I mean it's only one. It's very marginal though. It's only one place in qualifying and one place in the race. So that's why I've gone straight down the middle again for Sling, 5 out of 10.
Yeah, he did do a little bit better than I believe last week. Did out-qualify Mr. Hollywood. Did also, I think, believe get in the same positions as Hollywood. But I don't know why my brain is fuddling around with everything. I'm actually going to give him the same rating I gave Holly, so I'm going to give him a 6.
Fair, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, same here. I just wanted to give him the same rating I gave Hollywood, so makes sense. And then on to his teammate Pete the Newfie. Qualified 5th, but finished the race in 2nd, just behind Druply, just barely wasn't able to catch Drupally at the end.
Mm.
So I've gone with a 9 out of 10 for Pete. Because just like with Caleb, had an amazing race. Like it was a great race from Pete, but again, stuff left on the table. Because again, only qualified fifth. Maybe if he was a couple spots higher, he could have done something a bit more early on in the race, and then later in the race, if he had made the one stop strategy work, he probably could have won the race.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a bit of a what if for Pete. That's why just like with Caleb, I've gone with a 9 out of 10 for him as well.
Yeah, I've also gone for a 9, same as Mr. Caleb. Podium, lovely. Quality could have been a little bit better on his half. He can qualify really well in general, and just a little bit, like you said, left on the table with the one stop with the two stopper. If he had made it work, we were looking at a 10 possibly if he was able to stick really close to Droop, and if his quality was a little bit better. But a 9 is still a very solid result for Mr. Pete. The Mind Games book is also out on the NSES store. Pre-order it now at Pete's website. Otherwise, he will throw the book straight in your face and will force you to pay double the price.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Nice. So that's it for Ferrari. Then on to McLaren, who had a disastrous weekend.
Sorry, mate.
Definitely their worst weekend of the season so far.
Mm-hmm.
Start off with Great Ace, who this could be the controversial one. Start off with Great Ace, who qualified 6th, but he did not finish the race. He got rear wing damage. He crashed. He got rear wing damage, and he was forced to retire in the pits.
Mm-hmm.
So I was debating. I was gonna give him the same rating as Dan. I was gonna give him a 4 out of 10.
Mm.
But controversially, I've actually given Great Ace a 3 out of 10.
Oh shit!
Simply for the fact that this motherfucker won this race last season.
Mm.
He fucking won it. It was me and him at the end, neck and neck. He was fighting for the win last season.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to not even qualify in the top 5 here. Not like 6th for him is terrible, but for him to not qualify in the top 5 or even finish, because when your team, and also when your teammate crashes out, you got to clutch up and you got to be the one to keep your team there in the points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Kogo issues weren't all his fault. He had network stuff that was, or game issues, wheel issues that were going on, right? So
yep.
But with Great Ace, this was completely his fault. He made the blunders. He got the rear wing damage. He had to retire. And so I just think it was a massive choke on his part. And from someone who, like I said, he won at this track last season. This is one of his few race wins he has in the league, is at Australia. And he was just making mistakes. He made multiple mistakes that night. Just getting squirrely out of that final corner. I guess that final sector was really messing with him. So yeah, I've been really harsh. I've gone with a 3 out of 10. But again, folks, that is simply because I know what Great Ace is capable of, and that was just a bit of a disaster from him. So I've given him a 3 out of 10.
Remind me 1 second before I give my rating, Mr. Kogo? Sardonian, fuck. Who came third in that race last season?
Oh, here he goes.
I'm joking.
Here he goes. We're trying to get the ratings done in time, and he's wasting time glazing himself. Nice. Nice. The question I thought you were going to ask was, I gave Alex a 4 because Alex's DSQ wasn't completely his fault, whereas Great Ace's DNF was completely his fault. So that's why I've given Great Ace a 3 out of 10. Because I wanted to give him a lower rating than Alex.
Yeah, fair.
As well.
I've actually gone for a 4, believe it or not, contradicting my my co-host's negative words. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. It was just a pretty mid weekend. Quali was alright, but you do expect him to get into the top 5 with someone with his pace. The race was just not the best from him. Wing damage, getting slapped by a rogue Alpine. He needs to be sacked. Just a couple instances where that it was unfortunate, but then again, a lot of mistakes, like you said, the rear wing damage. Spinning on a straight, by the way, is a little bit awkward. But yeah, just he really need to clutch up, and when clutch time, when the shit hit the fan, he just I guess kind of let the shit start rolling down the fan itself and turned it on to full blast. So I reckon the full is a little bit more, I guess, generous than Mr. Muse would put it.
Mm. Yeah. It's still spot on though. Freezing fours for a great ace.
Mm.
He needs to move on to Jeddah. Same with his teammate Kogo, who qualified on pole, because the game gave him a glitched delta. Otherwise, he should have been like second or third there,
Yep.
behind Caleb. But regardless, still got a good lap in, got pole. And unfortunately, DNF'd the race. He had to retire because he was just having so much issues. He was causing issues for people around him. Like I said, he hit into Druply. He gave me and Alex illegal overtakes because this thing glitched out on the safety car restart, which like really affected, I know, my race personally, because otherwise, the drivers ahead of me had time penalties, so like maybe I could have even have been fighting for like keeping the pace to fight for the podium, but again, I lost like 5-6 seconds of race time. But Kogo, especially when he's leading a championship, it's you can't be having too many of these mistakes because they're starting to add up. And yeah, for his sake, I hope he has a resurgence at Jeddah. I've gone straight down the middle though. I've given him a 5 out of 10. I've given him a neutral grade because the mistakes weren't necessarily all his fault. They were part hardware issues, so I've given him the best grade out of the people who didn't finish, 5 out of 10, to give respect for the qualifying. But we talk about swings in the real life championships. There's kind of a swing going on right now in the NACS championship because Kogo came into the season guns blazing, and now it's almost like Pete the Newfie is on a bit of an upswing right now. And we're going into Jeddah, a track that, yes, Kogo has a lot of confidence at, but so does Pete, and so does Druply. Like his two biggest rivals at the moment have a lot of confidence going into Jeddah. So who knows? Maybe we'll see a new championship leader in the driver standings coming out of Jeddah. Who knows? But I've gone with a 5 out of 10 for Kogo. What have you given him?
I will say quality, great pole. Maybe shouldn't have got it, but hey, the game's a game. Don't have the player have the game, as people would say. Yes, he did have some problems. I've actually been a little bit more generous, because I believe those were his wheel designed to die. I've actually given him a 6.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah. That is fair. I was considering that. Maybe there was a little bias on my end because he fucked with my race, but but that's what happens when you qualify. When you have a bad qualifying like I did, and you get stuck in the shit. Sometimes stuff happens. But regardless, so we can get her done. We're almost done here. We just got to talk about ourselves now. The Alpine duo, who are now leading the constructors, fortunately, somehow. I don't know how we're leading the constructors coming out of that race when we both.
I don't know either.
We both had terrible qualifying. But we'll start with you. You had a bit of a better weekend than me. Even though, like I said, there was still some contact with people, but whatever. You qualified 7th, and you finished the race 4th. I've given you an 8, which might seem a little crazy. I know you're probably going to give yourself like 1 or 2 grades lower than that, but I've given you an 8 because, like I said, there was a lot of other people, won't name any McLaren drivers' names or anything. There was some McLaren driver shenaniganry going on. And like we said, we knew our pace, our tire wear, everything was a little off on this track. It wasn't going to be that good for us. So for you to still basically be fighting for the podium, because you technically were fighting for the podium, like if there was a way you could have kept the gap to Caleb, you would have got it over him because he had a bunch of time penalties. So I've gone with an 8. Might be a little generous. Might have been more of like a 7. If you're giving yourself a 7 or something, I understand. But I've given you an 8 because you did still finish ahead of me. At the end of the day, you kept that gap to me so that I wouldn't jump you, which was impressive.
Mm.
Um, with the time penalty and all that, and yeah, it's another solid race at your home track. You got third here last time. You got fourth here this time.
Mm.
Impressive stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I just start to randomly cook sometimes. But in my eyes, at least, this is what I'm referring to when I say the rogue Alpine has arrived. Quali was not my best, as people would say. Um, Probably should have tried to maybe get to the top 5, but hey, top 7 is still, it's all right. Come to the race, just the incidents I shouldn't have been involved in, getting involved in. And I guess just like Monaco as well, looking back on it, I probably should have not have stayed out that extra lap. Probably should have pit when Pete pit. Maybe try and see if Caleb, to increase the gap to Caleb, because Caleb always had to pit the lap. I think I did. But yeah, just a bit of an incident-ridden weekend for Mr. Golden Sniper. And to stop the waffling, I've given myself a big fat number 4. Shockingly.
You have not given yourself a 4.
I, unfortunately, Mr. News, to burst your bubble, I have.
Why? Your ratings actually starting to piss me off for yourself because they make no sense. Like they actually make no sense.
I know.
Like you're getting 4. Like that's not a 4.
Mm.
But anyway, I guess we'll be going off the average ratings when we do the mid or end of season fucking driver ratings. I guess we'll be going off of my average because that makes no. You're literally not backing yourself.
Yeah.
A P4 fighting for podium is not a 4 out of 10, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean,
How qualified your
half.
teammate beat your teammate.
Yeah, okay. I know. But I
Like a
ruined
4 out
Chase's
of
race,
10.
ruined Great Ace's race, sort of. You know, should have gotten a penalty, but for some
Man's
reason wasn't. Time penalties, you know. I know I can do better, man. But yeah.
man's gonna win a race and he's gonna give himself like a fucking 7.
Probably.
Like what the hell? Okay, well the ratings were all good other than that one. We've been pretty much spot on with each other other than that one. You just gotta
Yeah.
fix your ratings, man, with yourself, bro.
Well, I just gotta fix my fucking mental crisis I've got on in my head, man.
Yeah, you gotta fix something there. But lastly, there was me. I had a shit qualifying. I qualified 10th.
Mm.
But then I finished the race in the top 5. I finished 5th. Like I said, just barely off of you for P4. You know, too bad we didn't have enough pace because maybe we could have kept the gap with Caleb and even got third and fourth instead of 4th and 5th. That would have been nice. But nah, he was just gone. So yeah. So like I said, I gave you an 8. So I've given myself a 7. I've given myself one rating lower than you because my qualifying was really bad. But a lot of the stuff in the race wasn't my fault. I had an amazing start, jumped multiple positions, but then, like I said, there was a safety car that came out. Hollywood spun in front of me, gave me wing damage. I had to pit to fix that. And then, and keep in mind, when me and you pit, we also double stacked. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
We also double stacked, so I also lost time behind you in the double stack. And then lost the position by a couple tenths of the race.
Mm.
So really, I could have pulled the team orders card and been like, "Look, motherfucker, you cost me time on the double stack."
You should have.
I should have called it the Flavio, but no, like that race that weekend was all over the place. I mean, I've always liked the track, but everything's so thrown out of whack in this game with pace and everything, man. You never know. Sometimes you never know where you're gonna be fast to anymore.
Mm.
And this is just one of those tracks where it just didn't feel like anything was clicking. But a lot of other people made mistakes, a lot of other people fucked up, and I capitalized off that. So that's why I've given myself a 7 out of 10. Someone could argue a 6. I wouldn't be upset if someone gave me a 6 out of 10 for that. Like that's fair because that was like one of the worst qualifyings I've ever done. But I've given myself a 7 out of 10 just for the race recovery because I was literally like dead last at one point, I think. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I was debating between two numbers personally. It was between a 7 or an 8. But hearing the stuff you said, I'm gonna also agree with you. I'm gonna go for a 7. Um, quality wasn't the best. I know you've said that yourself. It was, I think your exact words were, it was shit. I don't like using that word, so I like being a little bit more family friendly. It wasn't the best. But you really pulled it back in the race, man. You had some decent pace. If you did pull the team orders card, I would have been that fucking pissed off. I would have let you have it. Yeah. Enough about me. I've been waffling too much. 7. Yeah. Good solid weekend from you, man.
Yeah, but but at the same time, it's also just kind of like a what if, because it's like if the stuff, because fixing your wing also wastes time in the pit. So it's like if I didn't have to fix my
Yeah.
wing, if I didn't have to let off because of the illegal overtake on Kogo,
Mm.
it just makes you wonder, like what the gap between me and Kay, with all the time penalties that he had and the fact that I had none, like what would the gap have been at the end? Because maybe I could have sniped him,
Mm.
for that podium. Um, but yeah, it makes you wonder. But yeah, so we both gone for a 7 for me.
Mm.
So that's it. I think we were pretty. This is the week we've been the most in agreement. I think so far. You just gotta check yourself because I don't know where a 4 out of 10 comes from for a P4.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess four for fourth.
Haha.
But no, I think you got. Personally, I took your number and doubled it. I think that's a
Mhm.
lot. Makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. It's like I
But
started those ratings well in Canada. Like I actually rated myself nice, and then the
because
more the
like
races went on, it's like, oh.
because like you did outqualify me by 3 spots, and you did finish ahead of me.
Mm.
So like you technically should have a higher rating. You should either have the same rating as me or one higher rating
Mm.
than me. Really, that's the way I look at it anyway.
Mm.
But yeah, just some food for thought. But that's it, folks, for our NACS driver ratings for the Australian Grand Prix. Join us next time. Join us next time for race 7, which is at Saudi Arabia, aka Jeddah,
aka Kogo's
and we'll be
playground.
doing driver, aka Kogo slash Pete's slash Vodkas slash Drupleys. There's like multiple drivers in this league that like
Slash
Jeddah is one of their
everyone but
favorite
us.
tracks. Basically everyone but us because we're on a controller and it's like the worst track in the game on a controller. But hey, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do the same thing we did this race. We're gonna survive because that's all you gotta do at Jeddah is survive because people crash all the time.
And I'm one of
So
them.
that's the plan. So that's it, folks.
Mm.
It's been fun. Sidonian Muse, Golden Sniper. We're signing out. We'll see you guys next time for driver ratings at Jeddah.
Toodaloo, mother truckers this time.